I'm LaNita Littleton. I'm at the Mattole Valley Resource Center, and I am the family specialist, and I am a community liaison.
And I'm Drew Barber. I'm the chair of the board of the Mattole Valley Resource Center. I'm also captain of the volunteer fire department.
So if someone is having a mental health crisis, it's a little tricky for the Resource Center because we are not a crisis center, but we definitely don't want to leave anybody in a position of vulnerability. So we really try to find the resources that can help them, whether that's a phone call, whether that's just a place to recuperate so they can make the necessary phone calls later. If it's a one-way bus ticket or out to safety, we could do that. We are a little limited through the Resource Center what we can do, but we do try to help as best we can with connecting people to the right sources.
It seems like most of us understand that we have to make it happen ourselves. And so with nobody else to do it, then we do it. And every day we wake up and we show up for our community. And there's enough people here that recognize that it ends up being a really special place. And I think it's, at least to some degree, just because we recognize that we have to keep doing it. We have to keep showing up. And with the volunteer fire department, we have a different relationship with mental health crisis. It's sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, we show up when there's an injury, typically. Occasionally, the volunteer fire department can participate in a situation prior to an injury. And some of us have some degree of training in that, but it's definitely not our strength and our specialty. So yeah, I kind of see the Resource Center is like this aggregate prevention tool that over time works on things like minimizing adverse childhood experiences so that you end up with fewer situations that put people at risk for the fire department to need to be called. That's sort of the progression. But there is a gap in between the services where there's a crisis and it's sort of outside of the hands of the Resource Center, and there's not an injury, and so therefore it's kind of outside of the range of the fire department. I got originally involved in the Resource Center because there was nothing on the downstream side of that. Like, there was just the post-injury fire department response, and we had a local suicide that a lot of us in the area saw coming, and we just didn't have any tools. We didn't have any resources. We didn't have training. And as a fire department, we talked about it. There was just nothing we could do. And it seemed inevitable that this was going to happen. And then we responded to the call. And it was just really hard on a lot of us. And that's sort of where I got involved with the Resource Center, as contributing to that aggregate reduction of possibility. But there still is that big space in between in terms of services.
So it's a lot of online work and telephone work with a lot of waiting. So there's been times where we've had clients on hold for about 2 hours to get help from agencies. Internet is huge, so we provide the internet. They could either bring in their own laptops or we could provide them with a laptop here. We have spotty cell phone reception throughout the valley and beyond. You could still get other services if you are on satellite for either TV or internet access likewise.
Yeah, and spotty cell phone, you
Very
nailed it.
spotty.
Spotty
Yeah.
cell phone is a good way to put it, but I think we have to describe that the spots, the majority of what's out there is blank in terms
Yes.
of no reception. So when LaNita says spotty, it means there's very few places, and you can see them on the roads. Typically there's somebody pulled over in those spots where there is some cell phone reception.
Well, I think the general attitude for mental health services in the Mattole Valley is really a wide spectrum. I do feel like it's changing. I feel like we have a platform to speak about mental health, and people are realizing it's a valuable tool. I think there's still a lot more work to be done with destigmatizing mental health issues and letting people know that it's okay to ask for help and that it's okay to talk to people.
And I would just give a voice to mental health services and resource center services, the family resource center networks that exist throughout the country, and remind people who might be learning about those entities, that the best time for us to be having these conversations and planning and building these support services is when we're not experiencing a crisis. And that, you know, oftentimes for most of us, we don't think about it until we're having that experience or until we're connected to that experience through somebody else. And then suddenly it's the most important thing. And hopefully, you know, there's been enough people around us who have been thinking about it through time. And I think about like the seatbelt, right? For a little while, we were like, nobody can make me wear my seatbelt. And we got over that, right? Now we just wear our seatbelts. And how often do we have an accident? Not very often, hopefully, but we still wear that seatbelt. And these mental health services are really that seatbelt that we need to always engage, always put it on, and always keep fulfilling and encouraging in our communities. So thanks for doing this work.
Yes.